Right, the role of the church is a very, very important section that we need to understand. In medieval society, the church was central to most people's lives, so its attitude to medicine had a profound influence on progress and development. Most importantly, the church encouraged people to pray for deliverance from illness, for forgiveness of their sins, and to prepare for the afterlife. Remember, most surgery was extremely dangerous. As well as prayer, offerings could be made, indulgences could be bought, and going on a pilgrimage to a holy shrine might bring about a cure. Pilgrims would often leave a miniature copy of the infected body part at the shrine and hope that prayer and belief would bring about a cure for them. One such shrine was the famous one which is depicted here, which is St John of Bridlington. But there were others. The Holy Land, obviously, Canterbury Cathedral, where the shrine of Thomas Becket was. But the priory at Bridlington, where St John's grave was appeared to be a source of miracles. Even Henry V went on pilgrimage there following his victory at the Battle of Agincourt. John of Bridlington had been an Augustine monk in the priory all his life, eventually becoming the prior there. He was renowned for his holiness, and miracles were attributed to him while he was still alive. He was made a saint in 1404, just 30 years after his death. The site of his burial rapidly became a place of pilgrimage, especially for women in labour and sailors. It's regarded as central, though, to Christian duty to look after the poor and the sick, so the church played a large part in developing hospitals, and over 160 were set up between the 12th and the 13th centuries. Some of these were very small, and many were attached to monasteries, but on the whole, there were at least some places for the sick to be treated, although at times they were turned away at the door. The church also set up university schools of medicine throughout Europe where doctors could be trained using the texts of Hippocrates and Galen. In fact, it was often through these university schools and in the monasteries that the old texts were hand-copied by monks and thus survived, many of them arriving in the West in Arabic translations from the Islamic world. However, the church also limited medical progress. It made it very difficult for scholars to dissect human bodies, although there is evidence of them taking place. Most studies of dissection were still based on the writings of Galen, but his work on dissection was based on animals, as we said before. Therefore, the church's insistence on using Galen and his works widely limited the progress and the understanding of the human body. Scientists who tried to insist on scientific method and observation often ran into difficulty. This man, Roger Bacon, was a Franciscan monk and a lecturer at Oxford University. He was arrested sometime around 1277 for spreading anti-church views after daring to question the church's stance on Galen and even wondering whether Galen was actually correct in some of his ideas. War was endemic in medieval times and led to loads of advances in surgery for the treatment of wounds. The burning or cauterization of wounds was commonplace, extremely painful and often fatal. Opium began to be used as a painkiller. Drafts of the drug were used to knock patients out to allow surgery to take place, but sometimes the opium was too strong and killed the patient instead. Army surgeons became very adept at carrying out amputations with the saw and the knife, again a very painful business without any effective anaesthetic. New tools were developed, an arrow cup designed to slide into a wound, surround an arrowhead and gently remove it from the body without causing much damage. Manuals helped to spread knowledge, as you can see here, and many would feature diagrams showing the different sort of wounds an army surgeon might expect throughout their career. Science too played its part, though. Robert Grosseteste, as you can see here, was a teacher at the University of Oxford and also Bishop of Lincoln. He was a leading advocate of scientific inquiry and experiment. Some of his work on optics eventually led to the development of spectacles. Roger Bacon, as we just seen, was imprisoned for challenging the church's view on Galen and the importance of scientific method. People began, though, to start questioning the old texts the church was insisting on using and look towards other possible solutions.